Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha G. Wolfe. I'm an emerging tech brand and marketing strategist, adjunct professor at NYU, and an author, keynote speaker. And now I'm a new host of an Internet of Senses podcast focused on sight. So in general, I've been called a sense maker and a translator, and I help people to understand emerging technologies, including VR, AR, AI, virtual beings, avatars, you name it. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of this podcast because I get to interview really cool people like my first guest, who totally and utterly inspires me. Judith is a visionary and a community leader, leading not only her company, but building an Africa-wide ecosystem. She's been a guest in my class, and I was lucky enough to have her be a team member of mine as part of the World Economic Forum Futures Council, and to see her brilliance up close. So I hope everybody who's listening gets to be as inspired as I am by Judith. And welcome to the podcast, by the way. I just read that your company actually means inspiring or inspired. And so I was like, that is so perfect. So please tell everybody a little bit more about you, and we're going to dive into it a lot, but you are one of the most articulate people that I know, so I'm sure you'll do a better job, more justice to your career than I ever would.
Oh, Sam, you're far too kind. And can I say what an absolute pleasure it is to be here with you today on this podcast. Well, I know folks listening, you probably already know how brilliant Sam is. And if you don't, please check out her amazing work, her books, all of that. But yeah, let's dive in. So my name is Judith Okonwo. I run what I call an XR creation lab called Imisi 3D. And you're right, the word Imisi is a Yoruba word, which means to inspire, literally to breathe into, that sort of thing. The work that we're focused on with that lab is ecosystem development for the immersive technologies across the African continent. It's work we started doing in 2016, and really the name kind of like speaks to what I think, just a little bit of what I think is possible with these technologies, because I've always believed that they will become pervasive for humanity. And I think if we actually, embrace them now intentionally, right, with purpose, then we can make sure they work for us in ways that perhaps other technologies have not in the past. And I certainly wanted that to be true of all people around the world. But then my particular focus was people on the African continent, to make sure that those voices are platformed in the conversation. But I come to technology via, well, not a direct route, I suppose is how I would describe it.
Well, no, this is one of our things that we have. I was a psychology major
Mhm.
undergrad, and then when I saw, and I think that maybe when we had first met, that I was like, oh, business psychology. And so to you
Mhm.
and me, it makes sense, but maybe
Yes.
you can explain to other people how you made that connection from business psychology into emerging
Mhm.
technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So my professional background is as a business psychologist, but I would say that as an individual, right, I've always been extremely curious, particularly about the future. I explained to people that when I was a child, I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to go to the moon on vacation. Like, those were my definite plans and all of that. So I've been really curious. And I say that, as a child, like one of my favorite toys was the Viewmaster, which, if you know what foreshadowing VR headsets, right? So, so I was starting my kidding on it, but really, I think it's the interest in people and humanity that you get from psychology that really connected the dots for me. Because when I thought about what immersive technology may be able to do, and the fact that it wasn't boundaried yet, when I started getting involved. So this was sort of like, 2016, when the questions
Which is
everywhere, the
around
headlines were like,
when I got involved too. So it's
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Will this be
absolutely.
the year? Won't this be the year of VR? There were all those
Yep.
headlines and everything. We're like, where are we on the
Yep.
hype cycle?
Absolutely.
And for me, the technologies are happening. The technologies will happen. I don't think there's any way around that. So it was just a question of, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to get involved, right? And that was one element of it, that we be involved in shaping what it will be and defining it for our purposes. But then also, I mean, imagine if sort of like all of the different brilliant minds out there were thinking about how they could apply these technologies to solve some of our grand challenges. What might that look like? And I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but there are a number of areas where I'm really passionate about, shifting the needle in terms of what currently obtains. And I think that, these technologies just might help, and I'd like to see that happen.